So the Gemara continues. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says, "B'shosha Kadosh Baruch Hu balaveis hakneses v'lo matzav asara miyad hu koes." When God comes to the shul, comes to the synagogue, and He doesn't find 10 people who are ready to pray, He immediately gets angry. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, "Madu abasi ve'in ish karosi ve'in oneh." Why did I come and there is no person? I called and no one answers. So I wonder about this teaching, right? So on the face of it, Hashem says, I want to come to shul and I want there to be answering. So we understand that we can't have answering in the shul, we can't have answering during the service if there isn't 10, because you can't say Kaddish, the responsive prayers are only done when there's a minyan. So when Hashem comes to shul and there's no minyan, He's angry. But I wondered about this. Why? What do you mean when Hashem? At the time that Hashem comes to shul? When does Hashem come to shul? So in the previous, earlier in the Talmud, we discussed this idea that when 10 people gather, the Shekhinah comes, or that Hashem is there before the minyan comes. When we're trying to gather the minyan. Which, okay, that's some encouragement, but the idea that the Shekhinah is always present in the shul. But what is this idea that when Hashem comes to the shul and there's no minyan? Why does Hashem come to the shul if there's no minyan? When is this time? So if Hashem, 2:00 in the afternoon, Hashem comes to shul, there's no minyan, He gets angry. What is this? So it occurs to me that that this follows the previous passage. The previous passage said if somebody normally comes to shul and one day he's not there, so there's people ask about him, and that's representing Hashem's will, inquiring what has happened to this person that he's relaxing his own standards. And here too is the same thing. When does Hashem come to shul? When the schedule says that there's supposed to be a minyan. So Hashem comes to shul at that time. And what it occurs to me is that just like we said in the previous section, that there's a deep teaching here, which is that we're not judged by what it says, just like an individual is not judged by what it says in the book. Because the previous passage we said, a person who comes to shul, called haragil level of beis hakneses, a person who usually comes to shul, when he's not there, there is investigation. Hashem wants to know where he is. Right? It doesn't say everyone who misses shul, Hashem wants to know. So this is a question of a person creates the standard by which they should be judged by their normal behavior. HaKadosh Baruch Hu asks us to be who we have proven to ourselves that we can be. And we have to be mindful of not relaxing, of not sliding away from who we have shown to ourselves that we can be. And the same is also true of a community. And there is called B'shosha Kadosh Baruch Hu balaveis hakneses v'lo matzav asara. This is if the community has shown that we are able, that this is what our communal standards are. So then we have created the standard by which HaKadosh Baruch Hu holds us. It's about what HaKadosh Baruch Hu expects from us, what we are ready for. And if something that we're ready for we're not doing, so that's a cause for divine wrath. So that's point number one. Point number two is what is it with the wrath? What is it with the anger? So who is the anger at? So here's what I have my own Torah on this. I just my own based on my own reading a pshat that an explanation that may be true. You take it for what it's worth. Later on, the Talmud says similar language that when the kings of the world take off their crowns to pray at the sunrise and they're praying to the sun, God gets angry. So the Ben Yehoyada over there says that Hashem is angry. The word chama in Hebrew, which means sun, can also be transferred to mean chema, anger. And so it occurs to me that this in the same context, what is the anger associated with the sun? That is that Hashem says, I created this world, I created the sun to shine upon the world and to create flowering, to create flourishing, so that the sun should be a source of life. But if people are not praying in community, then the sun is just burning. It's not creating life. So that's pshat number 2. Point number 3, and with this we'll conclude. What is it specifically about the synagogue? What is it specifically about the shul? So there's something historically Jewish about having a shul with your name on it. And the Gemara is perhaps critiquing the easiest kind of religious virtue signaling. The easiest kind of religious virtue signaling is to write a check. You gave a donation to the upkeep of the synagogue, or to build the shul even better, and your family's name is on the synagogue, but you're not there. So this is the message that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes to the Beis HaKnesses and he says, you built this synagogue and you thought that Judaism is about doing things, making things, build a synagogue, grow your beard, put on the black hat, wear a kippah, reaching kind of benchmarks. We are a synagogue that purchased a Torah scroll, right? God says, I don't need your Torah scroll. I don't need you to purchase a Torah scroll in your family's name. I need you to show up on a consistent basis. I need you to work on yourself. Purchasing a Torah scroll in your family's name is something that you do once. That's building a synagogue in your family's name is something that you do once. But what Hashem really wants from us is to be applying ourselves consistently to maintaining the standards that we've set for ourselves. We haven't even discussed improving, growing the standards, but just even maintaining our standards. That's hard work. Consistency is difficult. I speak from personal experience. It's very hard. And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is looking for us, to be able to maintain that consistency, to keep up the fight, to keep working at it, to keep trying. And if you did it once, that's great. But we got to keep it up. So may HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us the strength, you, me, and all of us together, that we can, as individuals and as a community, be able to accomplish what we have shown that we're able to accomplish. And in so doing, we make the shining of the sun and the creation of the world a beneficial and worthwhile endeavor.